We're on. Hello and good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Radio Works World. I'm Marion, your vision host, and today I have my very special guest, Carol, and we're going to talk about aliens. Good morning, Carol, in sunny Miami.
Good morning.
It's really lovely to have this opportunity to have a chat with you, even though it's on air, and I know we haven't spoken for ages. I'm really looking forward to lots of juicy sharing.
That's all we've ever done.
I know, lots of juice. So what I'm going to start with is, because I've been sharing a picture of a flower, a really lovely black flower with crazy little black mushroom looking things and lots of spiky stuff. So if people are listening, if you haven't seen the flower, you need to get yourself online and check the flower out. Carol, tell me about this flower.
Well, it's called a bat flower, and it's a very tropical plant, basically Miami South. So or maybe a greenhouse. You could grow it in a greenhouse, of course. It blooms just sort of when it wants to. It needs deep shade, and it's one of the blackest flowers that there is. And it's not purple; it's actually black. And a lot of flowers that people call black are actually deep purple. And this one isn't deep purple; it's truly black. I mean, no matter what light shade or whatever you do, it's black. I mean, it'll fade to gray or charcoal, but it starts out black and it stays black. It's just amazing.
Is it related to orchids? Have you got anything to do with the orchid family?
Nope. No. You know, I should have looked up the family. I can do that. Hang on a second, I will, because
while you're looking up the orchid, the family of the bat flower, I want to just share a little bit with everybody about you, Carol, because I met Carol. God, the first time I met you must have been about 12 years ago, maybe more. Oh no, it was much.
I think it might have been more, but I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, Carol lives on the water side in Miami, and I would go kayaking regularly with Carol from her lovely house next to the water. And one of my most stunning memories of being with you, Carol, is when we go to Bird Island just before the sun goes down.
Yeah.
And you be in our little plastic kayaks. So there's this, and it's the water is not the sea; it's that inner. What's it called? That inner water.
It's a bay. It's Bevington Bay.
Yeah. So, and it's in between the land, isn't it? It's not outside. It's not exposed to water. So when you're in the water, there's still there's lots of movement because it's such a big body of water, but it's not in the sea. So you're not in waves. So we're floating along in our little plastic kayaks. And what I remember really vividly, Carol, is I was lying back and we were watching the birds all come home to roost. And you could, because they fly in those beautiful V-shaped formations and there's huge numbers of them, you could feel the wave of air from under their wings as they were coming back. And we were getting like fanned by this gorgeous wave of air above us. And then underneath the waves from the water, it was just like the most incredible floating sensation. I loved it. Oh, I feel like
they were ibis. And it's really interesting because it's one of the few birds that always flies in a V, and a V is sort of, it makes it easier for all the other birds behind the leader. And then the leader will drop back and he'll be behind and somebody else will take over. So everybody he's breaking the air. So it's a very communal, supportive flock of birds. And I don't know if you remember when we were there and we were floating underneath them and you could feel that, you would hear, and everything was quiet. All you could hear was whoosh, whoosh, whoosh of their wings and of the feathers. And I tell people I don't know what heaven looks like, but I know what it sounds like.
Oh, that's so lovely. And there's also, you just reminded me of something else that I saw on a screen once. I wasn't experiencing it. It was the sound of planets. And there's a NASA recording that they've done. And the sound of Earth sounds like birds singing.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, no, Bird Island is really beautiful. I guess you remember how many different kinds of birds there were there, besides the ibis. The ibis had in the winter is the most. I mean, there's you know, I don't know, thousands of them, and they come to roost at night and they take off in the morning. But you know, it's one of the few places where frigate birds mate. There's only a few places that, you know, the man-of-war birds. They're the great big ones with the long spans of maybe 6 feet across, and they soar. And, you know, they have this just wonderful way of just up there, and they, you know. And I asked my husband, I said, "Do you know why they soar?" And he said, "No, why?" And I said, "Because they can." They're just up there soaring. I mean, they're not looking for food. They're just soaring.
Yeah, just floating around.
Yeah,
such a lovely metaphor as well, isn't it, for the way that we can live? Because this whole idea of being in this community where everybody can help each other, and that the fact that you're in the community is absolutely necessary for not only for your surviving, but for thriving as well.
Right. And I think it's one of those things where you're just not going along for the ride. You have to take the lead sometimes and do the hard work, you know, for the community, and then the community will support you at a later time or whatever. But it's not about, you know, hooking onto it for a ride, but you know, each one of the birds takes their turn in the front, you know, and they don't stay up there long. They only stay up there for, you know, a few minutes. It must be hard, you know, to break wind and to carry everybody behind you.
Yeah.
You know, and then they drop back to the back, and then somebody else takes over. Yeah, it is a wonderful metaphor for life, and it's like there's no dictator. You know, there's no I'm the leader. It's like, let's just take turns doing this. You know, and yeah, it's a really sweet way. It's kind of like, you remember the manatees?
Yes.
Yeah. It's how I think of the manatees, because they come in the river in the morning because they want fresh water, because the river's fresh. And they sleep in the bay because the water's always moving in the river. So they sleep in the bay, and they come in the morning, and they spend the day in the river eating the grass and drinking fresh water, and then they go back out into the bay. And it always looks to me like there's a parade of them, and like nobody's fighting to get in the front. They're just all going along together. I think I'll take the lead today. And they mosey on up, and then they turn around and they go back in the evening, and they mosey on back. And you know, but it's not like, you know, it's not like, here I am, I'm in charge. You know, it's like, I'll take the lead today, I'll do the work. Yeah, it's a sort of synergistic, supportive community. So
nice. Yeah. You were saying then as well about, and it's funny, it gave me some sort of an idea, a clarity around. So when if you're going to stay at the front, and it's really, really hard work to stay there, you'd have to create some really like armor, something very disconnecting actually, and very harsh, in order to even try to maintain that front position. And isn't that what seems to happen in the world that we're in now, when people believe that being in charge or being first or being head of the competition, that actually in order to be that, you have to disconnect from everybody else. When you disconnect from everybody else, there's never an opportunity to go along for the ride and just enjoy life and have fun.
Right. Yeah, no, it's important to you know, to feel supported instead of like pulling a bunch of people behind you. You know, you can lead, but you need to have the support, and then you need to drop back and recover, rejuvenate.
Yes, you know? Exactly.
Yeah.
Reconnect.
Yeah, and connection is number one human need.
And also, that's lovely. That's a lovely little segue into you and what you do, because I think for me, my sense of who you are in my life is as a connector. You're somebody that is a really powerful, you're really powerfully compassionate. And because of that, you really bring this idea of connection into the forefront. That's, for me, that's definitely what I feel about you. So tell us a little bit more about your story and the story of you and connections.
You know, when you said that, I remember I used to teach public speaking. I did speaking circles, and speaking in public was a fear of mine, which is a very common fear.
Yeah.
And I did this workshop, and it was just really powerful. And it was with Lee Glickstein, and the powerful part about it was not about getting up in front of a group, but it was about connection. And it was what he first does is he trains you how to be available for a connection, so that as he's teaching the people to be in front of a group comfortably. There's my dog.
You're connecting with the dog. Hello, dog.
And yeah, so he teaches you how to listen and how to be available for a connection, and then you go into speaking in front of a group. But the interesting thing that I think of as connection is that the truth is we're all connection. It's not about being available for a connection. It's about realizing that you are connected and to be there, consciously. Because I always think of us as a bunch of mushrooms. And the mushrooms are one of the largest organisms in the world, and you can walk for acres and acres, and you can see one mushroom and walk for miles and see another mushroom, and you think you're looking at two separate entities, and it's all one big connection underground. And so I think of us as mushrooms. We think we're not connected, but we are. We're all part of the collective consciousness, and there's we have no separation. Yes. So it's about becoming aware of the connection, not necessarily being available for the connection because you're already connected. It's all about being aware of your connection with others. Yeah. And then I also spent like 12 years as a chaplain, and that's one of the most important parts when you pray with somebody is to listen to what they need prayer for, and to let them know that, and to be available and aware of their connection with you and your connection with them, so that you can actually connect God in a prayerful way. But you first need, you need to let the person know you're praying for, that you're connected to them. Yeah. Sometimes people don't feel real connected to God. They're sort of the idea, we've some of the harsh words, God's, vengeance and whatever. And, we all grew up with different ideas of God. And I know I threw the baby out with the bathwater early on. I'm like, that's not what I can do. It took me a long time to come back to God. And so I understand that there's a disconnect that people have when you speak of God. And, I'm not stuck on the word God and Yahweh. And I love, one of my ministers said, God doesn't care if you call him Allah, and Allah doesn't care if you call him God. It's, Yahweh, Great Spirit, Brahman, whatever you want to call him, So it's that's all about connection. And I remember when I was in India, the last time we saw each other, I was there for, to go to an ashram for a oneness blessing. And we sat in meditation with these, people who sat in meditation 8 to 10 hours a day. They were unbelievably connected. And one time there were 200 of us, and there was this one woman who walked in deep meditation and sat in front of us to meditate. And I sat down, and I didn't move for an hour and a half. I mean, not a muscle. I didn't want to move. And it wasn't that I was connecting to the cosmos, because that's what it felt like. It was that she was connected to the cosmos, and I was able to connect with her and therefore go to the cosmos. So, sometimes you can't get there directly. You need some help with somebody who's already connected. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's a really lovely, lovely memory. And also the idea as well, when we met in India, that was a bit of a cosmic connection, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. My friend Elizabeth, who I went with, we were going, and I said, "Oh, my friend Marion is there," and she said, "Carol, India is a big place." And I said, "I'm going to check anyway." You know, and there you were. The one day you had off, and the one day I had off before I went into the ashram, and you just finished your yoga training. There was only one day overlapping that you
Yeah.
were there and that I was there and available. And we had a great day. And remember, there was that strike.
Yes.
All the cars and the buses and the taxis went on strike. And so we were able to get around the city like crazy, so easy, because everybody, all the buses and taxis were not there. And, yeah,
that's right. We spent the day hanging around in cafes, didn't we? If I remember rightly.
Yeah, we did. We went from cafe to cafe. I think we did a little shopping.
Yeah, because it was Chennai. We were in Chennai.
Chennai, yeah.
That was crazy, because I hadn't seen you for years, and I hadn't heard from you for years, I think.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there we are in Chennai together.
Oh, that was funny.
Connected. We're definitely cosmically connected, Carol.
Yeah, yes. That was so great. And you were able to get over because you remember the guy who used to run you up and back, and you told him, no, I'm not going to school tomorrow. I don't need you.
Yes.
And he showed up anyway. And
yes,
that's how you got over there, because there was no public transportation.
That's right. That's right. I had my friend. I always have a little bunch of friends whenever I travel anywhere, because I usually stay for quite an extended period. And so I'll always have the coconut seller. The closest coconut seller to my house is always my best friend. Be a taxi driver, or in India, the rickshaw driver.
Right.
And if I ever live near the water, I often meet with fishermen and sort of have a fisherman friend as well. They're my three friends.
Yeah, that was so funny, because he showed up, and it was like, you told him not to, and he showed up, so that was just way cool.
Yeah. That was such a lovely day. And again, so a bit more. I want people to know a little bit more about you. So you were doing what do you call it? It's not a minister, is it?
Chaplain.
A chaplain.
Right, chaplain. Yeah.
So cool that you call it a chaplain. And before you were a chaplain, what were you doing?
Well, that was a sideline, of course. I'm a horticulturalist from day one.
So tell us what a horticulturalist means. It sounds very, very serious, being a horticulturalist.
It is. It's all about ornamental plants, but I'm actually an ornamental horticulturalist. So I've started in university, studied ornamental horticulture, and it's all about flowering plants and how to grow them and how to nurture them, and where they should be. And so I taught college for 5 years at a community college, horticulture. I taught a vocational program, where my students came in. It was just a 1-year vocational program. That was great fun. Nice. And from there, I went to Bermuda for a year and ran a couple of nurseries. And basically, when you're a horticulturalist, you start things from either seeds or cuttings, and you grow them on, and then you put them in a larger pot. And sometimes, if we want to manipulate flowers, we may put lights on things to get them to bloom out of season or early in the season. Shrubbery and trees, anything that's the pretty stuff is basically.
What's the difference between a horticulturist and because I think I put the word botanist in, didn't I? And I was like, oh, that's not the right thing to say.
That's okay. That's right. A botanist and a horticulturist. Horticulture is like applied botany. Botany is like the science of plants.
Ah, okay.
They would understand more about the internal workings of a plant. As horticulture is the applied. I of course have a lot of botany classes and whatever and background. You have to learn botany to be able to be a good horticulturalist, but it's applied botany. The other thing that I've done for years, and it's I didn't really learn it in college, I learned it afterwards, is I just love herbs. I've been promoting herbs as ornamentals, you know, because I sell to people who sell ornamentals. So not, you know, not to be used as ornamentals per se, to be used as herbs, but they're also very pretty.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you go to, in the States, a big box store like Walmart or whatever, we have herbs and vegetables. And vegetables are a little hard down here. The seasons are different or whatever, but we can grow herbs year round. And they're just so lovely to say, well, wait a minute, I need a little rosemary. I'll be right back. And you walk out your back door and cut a little rosemary or a little basil or a little marjoram or, you know, some thyme or mint or lemon balm. I mean, I can grow all those things, you know, in the yard. And or lemongrass, you know, and you know, when you want some tea, I'll be right back, and you make a lemongrass, you know, mint tea, you know, or whatever, right from your backyard. And they have that a pungency that insects don't like, and so you basically, you know, you grow them organically without any trouble because you don't have things don't gnaw on them much. Some do, but you know, not yet. It's very little. So herbs are like dead simple to grow if you know. So I've always had a passion about that, and I helped bring a lot of the different herbs into, you know, the nurseries and the box stores and all that kind of stuff, because I had one customer and he used to buy all his herbs for me, and I said herb seed, and I said, I'm not selling you any herb seed unless you grow lemongrass seed. And he goes, what is that? And I'm going, well, you'll just have to find out. You know, of course I would have sold it to him without the lemongrass seed, but he grew lemongrass, and so, you know, that got it into the whole market, you know, which is, you know, pretty cool. So yeah, so that's a side part of what I do, but it's a part I'm quite passionate about.
And it's so lovely, isn't it? Because I know in the supermarkets here you can buy the plants in little plastic pots. So I will buy mint or coriander fresh, and the difference that it makes when you use the things for that, or even actually lettuce as well. You can buy a lettuce box now. Growing, and it's just it's not just the flavor, because obviously the flavor is different when it's fresh, but there's something about the way you feel when you've eaten plants that are so fresh. It's like they're still alive when you're eating them. They haven't quite died, and you're digesting this aliveness, and the body really notices, doesn't it?
Yes, you know, you don't know this about me, but I'm actually certified to teach live foods, you know, raw food.
Oh wow! No, I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I took a course about live foods. I don't eat all raw foods. You know, the lady who was teaching it, and the way I got into it was people who eat 100% raw. I like some food warm, you know, but I eat about, you know, 50 to 60% raw all the time. And my gosh, you can do some wonderful things with raw foods. And you know, it's, but I do like some warm foods now and then. Nothing like a good bowl of soup when it's hot, when it's cold, I mean. No, I you know, well, you know, I'm passionate about food, but yeah, I just got a sous vide. You know what that is?
No.
Oh, it's my husband calls it a jacuzzi for food. It's an element that you put into a pot or a container that heats the water, and there's a little fan at the bottom that moves the water around, and you place the food in the water in like a sealed bag. I use vacuum sealed bags. And like I made carrot soup last night, and so the carrots cook slowly, like you know, 180 degrees or something. You're not boiling them, but they're in a sealed bag, and so none of the vitamins or minerals go out of the bag. You know, like when you cook a beet and, you know, you steam it and you go to throw the water away that was steamed and it's like all red. You're going, well, that's all my minerals down there. Yeah. So it you know, like the beets are red. The carrots are the same color of a raw carrot. I mean, carrot soup that isn't like rust colored. It's just brilliant orange.
Wow.
So all the flavors there, and also all the minerals and vitamins. But yeah, I'm having a great time. I've only had my sous vide for about 3 or 4 months, so I'm still kind of like enthralled with
Well,
it.
I think we're going to have to do another show, Carol, and it'll have to be in Miami. I'm going to have to come and taste while we.
Guess.
You're making my mouth water talking about it.
Yeah, no, the carrot soup is like the best carrot soup. I put a piece of lemongrass of the stem, and I kind of bash it up and put it in the bag, and then carrots and ginger and coconut milk, and then seal it and cook it, and then of course you throw away the lemongrass and just puree it, and I mean it's like heaven.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I just learned about we're going to talk about plants, but food is a passion too. Preserved lemons. I just started preserving my own lemons. And
wow.
You chop up a little bit of the preserved lemon and put it in this sweet carrot soup. And so every once in a while you get this bite of tart, salty lemon, so your tongue's going, oh, oh, oh.
It's a mouth orgasm. Oh, yummy. And their preserved lemons are the things that they use in Morocco, is that right?
Yes, yes.
Machines, yes. I've got some good friends that live in Morocco, actually. Katie was on the show with me last year, who's my English friend who lives in Morocco, and I stayed with them for a month.
Wow.
About 2 years ago. And they had they've got 5 children. They've got this huge house. They've got loads of animals. They've got a donkey. They've got what else have they got? Oh, they've got a peacock. They've got a couple of peacocks actually, because they come in a pair. It's an absolutely incredible home to stay in, and they've got lots of local people who come and help them with the cooking, and it was just amazing, really amazing. Yeah, I had a lovely time. So if you ever fancy a trip to Morocco, let me know, because Katie's a fabulous person to connect with in Morocco.
Well, maybe you'll go with me.
I will. Oh, well, actually, let me tell you this. This is good. Last weekend, not the weekend gone, the one before, I'm working with a woman called Cheryl Chapman, and we started a group called the Find Your Why Foundation. So we've written a book called Find Your Why to Become Freaking Awesome. That's the book. So obviously everybody needs it. And we ran off, we've been doing online programs for over a year now. And we ran our first retreat 2 weeks ago. And it was amazing. It was absolutely much better than we could ever have even imagined. Because we knew it was going to be brilliant. But it was even more brilliant than we knew it was going to be.
I love it when that happens.
It was just great. And so we're looking at alternative venues now to hold more retreats, and going to Morocco is an idea that's hatching at the moment.
Oh, cool.
So this could be an opportunity for you to come and join. And we have Wise Women, and it's spelled WHYS. Wise Women and Wise Men, because these are people who know their why. And the women's group is called the Live, Love, Laugh Lounge.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on your...
Okay, good. Yeah. And then we've also got the Man Cave for the men. So we do very occasionally mix the group, but we like to keep the opportunity to have it either together or separate, because as you know, as a woman, sometimes being in a group with women, it's got its own energy, it's got its own sensibility. And then being in a group with men, when it's just men together, it's the same thing, even though Cheryl and I have to be the honorary men, but we're both quite good at it. You know, we were office women in the 80s, so we do big shoulders. So that's our little on newest idea has been to have these retreats in Morocco. We're thinking of Thailand as well.
Oh,
and so maybe Miami should be on the list too.
Yeah,
I think so. I think so, definitely. And I also wanted to talk to you a little bit, Carol, about your Kundalini yoga, because this, from what I know of you, and that's a very little tiny bit of who you really are, from what I know of you, this is one of your newer ventures. You ventured into teaching Kundalini yoga.
Yeah, it's funny how I got into it. I maybe 10 years ago, a friend of mine said, you know, hey, I'm going to a yoga class, Kundalini yoga, you want to go? And it was after I'd been to India. Okay. And I don't know if you remember, I don't even know if I told you, when I was at the ashram, I had the experience of the Kundalini rising. I mean, it was amazing. I was like, it's like when it was over, I looked around to see if anybody else noticed, you know, because it was so profound and it was so palpable, you know. I was like, whoa. And so she asked me to go to this course. I thought, well, come on, you just had the Kundalini rise, you might as well go try this out. And it was like coming home. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I've done what for 20 years? Because I've done hatha yoga for 20 years. And it's like, it was amazing. So I, started doing Kundalini yoga. And then my husband, Steve's niece, was interested in becoming a teacher in Kundalini because I got her into it. So we went to listen to this lady. And I said, I'll go with you to go check out the studio where they're going to teach us. No intention of taking the course at all. And so we go, and the teacher worked directly with Yogi Bhajan, and she had this whole program. It was a 9-month program, and she had teachers for the individual parts of the course that, like when you study the 10 bodies, the guy who wrote the book that studied with Yogi Bhajan, you know, and we did the nutrition and the physical side of it. There was a chiropractor who studied with Yogi Bhajan, you know, and was a chiropractor, nutritionist, acupuncturist, you know, and he came in and talked to us about all the organs and how they work. And so anyway, she had this great program. I said, I want to do this. You know, so I asked my niece if it was okay if I did it with her. She said, sure. So anyway, she didn't do it and I did. And I really did it mostly just because I wanted to learn more about Kundalini and to learn, you know, the whole backstory of the, you know. So, and you know, I'm not, I'm still working, so I'm not, I don't have time to teach a lot, but I'm doing a lot of subbing, and I do, you know, a couple of classes a month that I actually teach that are you know, I'm really enjoying teaching. It's a, you know, trying to do something before you learn it. You know, it's like if you want to learn something, try and teach it to somebody. I mean, the whole, all the little nuances and all the little parts, all of a sudden, you know, become, you know, you have to be so much more aware of them, you know. And so I'm really enjoying doing that. And I'm actually just started on my level 2 teaching program. They have 5 courses in level 2. Which is conscious communication, conscious relationship. So it's a whole, you know, more of Yogi Bhajan's teachings, and he just has a really neat way of, you know, getting you to look at the way you look at relationships. I'm just in the first course, so you know, one of the things that he says, you know, that in the West we have it wrong. A friend in need is a friend in need, and it's like that's not what a friend is. A friend is somebody that you want to serve, that you want to be there for. It's not somebody that you need. It's, you know, I mean, you want, you don't need to be there for them, you know. And you know, it's just like, wow, yeah, that's just not, you know, that's when I think about it. My friends are not somebody that need me. It's somebody I want to serve, somebody I want to be there for. You know, some of this would probably be there for me too. You know, that's not using me.
I had a crazy morning this week, and I did a meditation in the morning, and then I listened to a recording of somebody, and the information that came through was really profound. And it was, so I started singing a song in my head, and then I decided I was going to make a Facebook Live video.
Oh, I listened to it.
And the words were, it's so sad that we think that we have to be loved. because we already are. And I just kept saying it over, and it still goes through my head now. It's so sad that I think that I have to be loved because I am. And it was all about this idea of there's no need for anything. And actually, it's really sad when we perceive need, because after childhood, when we do have needs, then there only is. So as you said, like the biggest human need is connection, but actually it's not really a human need, is it? The biggest human truth is connection.
Right. Because we are connected.
Realize.
Right. I think I said that.
Truth. Yeah. Well, I mean, we do, because we're educated that way, aren't we? And this whole idea of Maslow and his hierarchy of needs, and Tony Robbins and his needs, these are needs that we have as babies. But if those needs are met as a baby and we're allowed to grow into a mature being, then we actually don't have any needs. We are creators, not needs. Right. And so that's where this song came from, how sad it is that people die believing that they're not loved, die believing that they're not connected. And that's not true. That's a lie. And what's sad is that so many of us live our whole lives, or a lot of our lives, believing all of these lies that we're not loved and that we're not connected, because that's not the truth.
Right. It's not. Yeah.
That was where my song came from. So Cheryl, my business partner, she said, she's going to kill me for saying this. She said, when I saw it, she said, I love you and I love what you do and I love how mad you are. She said, but it really makes me understand why I need my personal branding. That's okay. I haven't got a problem with us having our personal branding and our own branding together. That's no problem for me.
Right. So the Kundalini yoga it's just amazing. It's there's a lot. The first yoga pose was a sitting pose. It's all about meditation. It's about getting your body and your mind healthy enough so that you can sit in meditation.
Yes.
Kundalini is all about that. It's about getting your, and they're very specific kriyas, which is just a complete action. So it might be one pose, or it might be 20 poses that are in sequence at certain amount of times for certain parts, like adrenals and kidneys. There's a kriya for that. And the first time I ever did the kriya, I slept like a baby that night. I mean, the best night's sleep I'd ever had. And of course, you're driving in Miami, you deplete your adrenals. It's just, it's crazy driving here. Yeah. So, so it was like a really clear that it was working, because the adrenals are what, when your adrenals are working well, that's what allows you to go to sleep and allows you to stay asleep, and if your adrenals aren't working well, you don't sleep well.
No.
So I mean, it's really an interesting, very scientific, grounded yoga. I mean, in the class I took, there were, chiropractors, pharmacists, college professors in botany, mechanical engineers. I mean, I was just, horticulturalists. I was just amazed because these were my people. I knew how to talk to them because, they were very grounded and very, scientific and very, here's, cause, effect, or not to say that they don't connect on a higher level, or remember they do, but they've got their feet on the floor and they remember their zip codes.
Well, the thing is, I completely understand that, because for me, so I was in computing, I was programming, I'm a scientist, I'm a mathematician, and I know that I'm very spiritually connected, but I have to get my thinking mind out of the way. I have to get it to have a rest, and it won't rest until it thinks it understands. Right. And so if I can't understand something logically, I actually don't get the benefit of practicing it, because my little left brain comes in and goes, oh, but why do you believe it? Why do you think it works? What do you think's going on here then? Can you imagine the molecule? Blah, 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 blah.
I know. I've been doing this meditation. I'm learning how to just have faith. Believe me, my left brain has been active. I'm doing this meditation. I'm doing it. I think today was day 220. I'm going to do it for 1,000 days. And it's the craziest meditation. It's just you put one arm up and your hands in Spock hands, and the other one's like this, and you hold it like this for 11 minutes. Which took me about 40 days to be able to hold my arms like that for 11 minutes. So then the next.
So what do you do? So you do a Spock hand like this.
Put your thumb out.
What do you do with your thumb out? And what do you do?
Both hands the same.
Both hands like Spock. Ooh.
Yeah, and then one goes up and one goes straight out.
And the left one goes up?
You alternate from day to day.
Oh, okay.
So one day you do 11 minutes here, and the next day you do 11 minutes there. So 11 minutes is a long time.
Yeah, I'm tired already.
What's amazing about this is the only thing I did was my hips opened up. I can now sit in half lotus, and I was sitting on a pillow, unable to sit really in easy pose without a pillow. And all of a sudden, my hips opened up, and I'm sitting in half lotus, and it's like I'm doing this.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I had a similar weird experience when I started to do the EFT, the tapping. Mm-hmm. And I was tapping on. I was told to just be in the feeling, associate yourself with some negative process. So I used the word cringe. I used squirm. I used these words where where the body feels really uncomfortable.
Right.
Just keep saying the word and keep tapping and tapping and tapping. And I started to notice that I was getting less and less hard skin on my feet. Like, what?
I mean, like, where's the connection to that? Why would my hips open up?
Right. So, a conversation I'd had this weekend with a lot of people, and it's going to happen a lot more. I can feel it. Is we are in a place of awakening, and people think this awakening is all a bit woo woo, and it's a bit expanding consciousness, and it's all a bit out there. But actually, my understanding of what the awakening is that we start to understand that we are more than physical. And that is, to me, that's the simplicity. That's the basis of an awakening. If I'm more than physical, if I'm more than what the five senses perceive, then that's all I need to begin the journey of awakening. That's all I need. Because to be asleep is to be stuck in the five senses. That's my sort of current understanding of the process.
Oh, yeah. I studied with a Swami in South Miami, Swami Purtimananda, who was a devotee of Shivananda's, who was one of the yogis to say, don't do everything your guru says, which made it available to the West, because we were just not going to do it. Anyway, so he teaches the Yoga Sutras. Yeah. He's 86. He's fabulous. He's just so cool. But he teaches Yoga Sutras, and one of the things that when I was in India, and the Hindus think that you are not your body. Yeah, you're not your body. So it's the same thing. It's a basic. If you can get to that point where you go, you are not your body, it opens up a whole lot more. And so even that thought for me, I get that now, and I actually talk about it a lot. But even for me, that is actually quite an advanced thought. Oh, it is. Just the fact that there is more than this physical, Right. So there's like people who are psychically connected or spiritually connected in ways where people see ghosts, or they talk voices and things like that. They're all quite out there, but just the idea that there's a wider spectrum than the visual, and we know that this is true.
dogs hear more than we do. Dogs can smell more than we can. I think for me, that's what I've started to understand recently, that in order for us to wake up, we just have to realize that those boundaries are not actually the reality of everything. Yeah. And then you can step into that I'm not my body and all of this other stuff. And I mean, I do share it and I do teach it, but it's so often I watch people just glaze over.
Right.
What is she talking about? She's that woman who sings that song. Don't need to listen to her.
Yeah, you know, I was reading there's some little crab somewhere that sees like 32 primary colors. We see 3. Yeah. Birds see 6. I mean, you know, so yeah. I mean, you know, it's like if you've ever seen, you know, red, green, colorblind, and they'll show you what people that are red, green, colorblind see. Yeah. Then you go, wow, you know, wow, what a difference. And to think that we see 3 primary colors and birds see 6 primary colors. I mean, and this little crab somewhere, I don't know how they measured that, but 32, it's like, what we aren't aware of, you know, what is really there, you know, and you know, we just don't even see.
Yeah, I know. Oh, we're going to have to go soon because I'm looking at my battery going flat and it's getting close to 2. And I want to go. And I'm starving. You've made me really hungry.
Come to dinner. You're invited.
I know. Right, I'll be. If Concord was still around, I could be there in 3 hours.
Well, it's an open invitation, not just tonight.
And thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Carol. I've really, really enjoyed having this chat with you. And we shouldn't leave it so long next time.
Okay, that's a deal.
Even though we're always connected, really.
Absolutely. Cosmically, no doubt.
Cosmically connected. And I trust that our radio controller will be able to sort us out when we finish the show. So I'm just going to trust in all of that. Have lots of faith in the wonderful Darry. So Carol, in 2 weeks' time, actually, Darry and his mum Marina, who run this radio station, they've got an Authors Award in London. And the Authors Award is where you get to be a superstar for the day and celebrate yourself and your greatness and be sprinkled with stardust by beautiful people like me and Marina and you. So if you see the information, please share. And
I will.
You are invited, and I will keep sending you invites until you eventually make it over to meet us one day at the Authors Awards.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
Namaste. Good to see you. Okay.
Bye. Bye, everyone.